2, 3, 4.
Dobraya Utra, and good morning, my brothers and sisters. This is our seventh, we count it, seven episodes of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Our episode of perfection for all you Bible scholars out there. Thanks for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue to discuss, as we like to do every week, the game of life, amidst the other games that we love to watch and play. I'm one of your hosts, the man who'd rather wear socks with sandals in public than own a lapdog, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also, to my northwest, a man who spends his free time taking photos of marriage proposals and singing a variety of country's theme songs, Patrick Novosel.
That's me. That's what I do on my free time. I just take pictures of people.
That's awkward.
That. Does that sound creepy?
The question is, while you're taking the photos, are you humming like that country's theme song or just whatever country's theme song that comes to mind?
Nah, I just got binoculars around my neck.
Did you just say binoculars?
We should totally have Eye of the Tiger as our theme song.
Binos.
Binos. All right, that sounds like a
This
rhino.
is falling
that's
apart
got two
quickly,
horns.
so let's keep going.
All right, also to my northwest, the man who's probably still trying to decide if he'd rather have a velociraptor or a horse dog as a pet, Ronnie Johantis.
Hello.
And last, but certainly not least, and more directly to my north, the man who throws the most low-key party weekends, Pitbull style, Marc Boucher.
Good morning, worldwide!
You said that way too energetically. You need to make that a little more low-key, buddy.
Good morning, worldwide.
Much better. All right. Hey, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. If this is not your first time, then welcome back. We love it when you come to visit. So before we continue our normally scheduled programming, guys, I wanted to cover a few items off that good old housekeeping list, as it were. Firstly, a shout out to all the new countries that are listening to us. As an American living in Brazil, and with a family of 4 that represents 3 nationalities, I am ecstatic. I'm telling you, ecstatic to share that we now have around 40 different countries listening to us.
No. There are more than 50.
There are more than
What?
50?
More than 50.
Worldwide!
So it can only calculate, I guess, up to 50 different ones.
Serious?
Yeah. So I can't see. So if it's like the lowest listener count, they're not on the list.
Really? Breaking news, folks. Breaking news. We have more than 50 different countries listening to us. Crazy. That is,
Right.
Hot off the
more
press.
than hot off the press indeed. That's more than 10 times of the countries that were listening to us last week when Patrick shared. And of course, it's one of the new ones happens to be Russia, good old Russia, which is why I said good morning in Russian earlier, if you didn't have any idea what language I was using.
No, I did not.
I feel educated now.
There you go.
Is that something else?
Dobraya Utra, just for those who weren't listening. That's how you say good morning. Or at least that's how an American who lives in Brazil says good morning in Russian. So,
I wonder how many of those are complete listens. Like, they clicked on it and like, oh, this is not what I wanted, and then went away.
I don't know if he's saying Dobraya Rucha or whatever you said. They're like, oh, this is my new favorite podcast.
That's right.
Sorry to all our Russian fans out there for what he just said.
Oh man, that's true. I hope we didn't lose them. Stick with us, guys. I'm still practicing my Russian. Okay.
Is that all we need is for them to open it up and listen for like 1 second, then close it, and then we get total credit for it? Is that all we got to do is have like the first 60 seconds be excellent and everything else can be garbage?
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know how that works either. Sounds good to me though.
We should figure that out because we're doing way too much if that's the case.
I couldn't agree with you more, Ronnie.
Overachievers.
Yeah. Besides our explosion in different countries listening to us, also our Twitter followers over this past week, they have more than tripled also. And so a big shout out to those who are following us, retweeting us, and positively chatting with us on a platform that is really known for being a cesspool of negativity. While personally I will say it was a little distracting as I worked from home, I sometimes wasn't very, very good at focusing on my work because there were so many notifications coming up. It's been so cool to connect with new friends, new podcasts, new listeners over this past week on Twitter. So there's that.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Buenos dias.
That's not thank you, but close enough.
Gracias.
There you go.
When in Rome.
I don't think Romans did that. But anyways, finally, want to give one more shout out in our housekeeping. Give a big shout out to our Discord community and all dozen members of it we have right now, which unfortunately does not yet include Ronnie, one of the 4 main members of our podcast. But
Ooh, he got called
I am
out.
getting roughed up
Yeah,
here. You
you
know what?
did.
And Lucas said to do this, and I did not do it.
yeah, uh-huh.
I'm gonna
That's
try to
all right,
be.
man.
I'm gonna try to be 5% better than I've been.
That would be great.
I don't want to set the bar too high, but I want to make it accomplishable so I can come back with, I did it.
Sir,
Likewise,
I will be
like it.
incrementally better.
I will take it. But those who are on our Discord, as they know, we talk about everything from video games to sports to our day-to-day lives, and even have an area dedicated to dad jokes. So I'm pretty sure that information alone is going to double our Discord count this week. So I'm expecting
that channel is absolute gold.
It's gold. The dad joke channel. I mean, it's awesome. It's like endless gold mine. And
It is the most active channel of all our channels by far.
Yeah, so that is true, 100% true. And so I
in the world.
hope with that information, then with this coming week, we will double our Discord members and have twice a baker's dozen by this time next week. That's what I'm hoping. But starting this week also, for those who are in the Discord, we are exclusively allowing members to share stories and opinions that we read on the show in connection with our topic, today's topic, which will remain a mystery until we reveal it for those who haven't been paying attention. If you have been paying attention, you already know what we're going to talk about, but
all they need to do is read the title of the podcast and they got it.
That's right. I forgot about that. Spoilers! But along with asking a question every week, having people ask a question, we're also trying to get people involved in our topics. So this coming week, we're going to continue on the Discord, kind of sharing our topics and giving people a chance to share their stories, share their opinions on what we talk about. We really hope you guys, those who are listening, will consider joining and connecting with us on there. It is free. You just download the app, search for the Good Morning Guys. Maybe we will post another link this week if we feel so inspired on Twitter or Facebook. If you can't figure things out for yourself. Okay? That covers our housekeeping. Housekeeping? No. Housekeeping? Yes.
Housekeeping?
I'd like to know how that works.
Yeah. It's better left unsaid.
Yeah, I guess.
Anywho,
Moving
Moving on. Let's carry on to the What's New news as we give the highs, lows, and in-betweens of our lives, the world, video games, sports, you name it. We love to talk about it. Who wants to lead off?
Ronnie, why don't you go?
I will go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been handed off to me. I didn't even volunteer this time.
That's a great idea.
You've been voluntold.
So, a little bit of an update, a little bit of new in my life. I moved office buildings. So, when I started with the company I'm with about 6 years ago, I worked in that building for, I think, probably 4 years. And then I've worked for 2 years at this building that I'm at, or that I was at. Now we moved back to home office. This is basically after the whole layoff thing we talked about in the earlier episode. Basically them condensing everybody to one building. So really happy actually to be back at that building. All the amenities are way better. Covered garage. Like, it's nothing worse than have to go shovel snow off your car in the winter. So that is pretty awesome. Also, this week, the Bengals were completely dismantled by Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Weren't they ever?
It was
awful.
It was rough. It was rough. That was just an absolute beatdown. That's what a good team looks like, folks.
I actually blame Patrick. I saw his post before the game talking about how they had a 1 in a million chance using that Dumb and Dumber line from.
It didn't look that good
from that classic film. No, it didn't, and they definitely played their cards the way they were predicted to.
Yeah, that was a rough beating. Lastly, my weekly update: the vehicle search. I've quit searching already. This basically happens every week. I go back and forth. So at this very juncture, I'm not looking for a vehicle, and eventually it'll probably happen sometime within the next year and a half. since my lease is up anyways, but could be tomorrow or it could be in a year. I don't know.
Just
Fair
winging
enough.
it. So you just go to car dealerships every weekend, just like, you know what? I may get one. Not
It really
today.
depends on what I
yeah.
have to do. Like if I'm busy, then I'll never stop in. But if I'm not busy, like I'll stop around and shoot the breeze with a guy, wandering the parking lot out there. So it really just depends on what I'm doing that week, I think.
That's kind of a dangerous move, isn't it, to wander a parking lot of a dealership? That's like putting blood in the water of the ocean, and that's when the sharks come out. And they're like, hey, what you doing, man? What are you looking for? What are you thinking about? Let's talk.
I was
I'm only looking to spend about $20,000. We'll take a look at this $35,000 car.
I'll take it. No, I tend to wait to get a salesman that I like. I don't like to be sold a car. I like to pick out the car and ask information about that car to help make my choice. When I feel like somebody's pushing a car, like I'm out immediately.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it definitely
that's a good
definitely
call.
depends. You guys like being sold a car, or like I don't like the confrontation of like them telling me what I need.
No.
I just want to go to Amazon and just order one.
Yeah, me too.
Free 2-day shipping.
Yeah, I will say in our internet culture, I prefer to just get online and decide what I want, like without any pressure. I can't stand when they're like you said, Ronnie, when they're trying to sell you something and they're just like, well, this has heated seats and you can hold 4 cups in your car at the same time. And, just...
And this back seat turns
Yeah.
into a grill.
Isn't it crazy? Awesome.
How about one of those cars where the tent just comes right out the back of it, just turns into a camper immediately?
Oh my gosh, I remember those. Were those
It's like Aztecs or whatever I think they were called.
Were those were cool for like 2 months, right?
They were cool
Until
when the
people-
commercials came out only, I think.
Yeah, but I just don't want someone to sell me something. I want them to like. It's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I know it's been a lot of years, but it's kind of like dating. Like, I want them to get to know me a little bit, ask me questions to find out what I actually want, instead of just saying, I got a great deal on this, this pink Corvette. You should buy it because it's a great deal.
You just want to see where their commitment level's at.
Exactly. I want a genuine relationship. I don't want none of this, one night stand stuff. I don't. That doesn't help anybody.
That makes
That
sense, man.
conversation was way more awkward than it should have been.
Definitely. He treats buying cars like he treats dating. That's exactly what we should all have taken from that. Same exact thing. So that is all for my week, though. Patrick, how about your week?
I didn't really do much this past week. I did a couple trick-or-treating events with the kids.
That's a little early, right?
The Kings Island, we went to Kings Island Amusement Park, and they had, I think it's open. They have a Halloween event that goes through like the end of September through the end of October. I guess they do that through this every weekend. And then we had one actually tonight where we went to my wife's grandpa's assisted living center, and they do this huge. You walk through all the hallways, and all the residents there are handing out candy. So we did that. So that was kind of cool. It's actually pretty sweet when you're able to trick or treat inside.
That's awesome.
Right.
And you're not walking from house to house in the cold with your jacket over your costume. So that was kind of cool. But one of the things that Kings Island has is they have a whole bunch of different haunted houses kind of thing. And my daughter has never gone to one before.
Really?
So yeah. So it
that
all the
sounds
haunted houses.
Sound like a golden opportunity then.
Yeah, she's 8 years old. She's never been to a haunted house before, and all the haunted houses started to allow people to go through at 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, it was still light out. So we went to one where it was kind of like outside a little bit, so there wasn't that big frightness kind of thing. Where if it was too dark, she wouldn't be able to see. She'd get too scared, and she wouldn't want to do it again.
Right.
So we went to one of the outside ones, and she said afterwards she screamed 4, 5, 6 times, and then afterwards she said she had butterflies in her stomach and she wanted to do it again.
Nice.
Gotcha.
There you go. Got a fan?
Yeah. So we did that. Played some games. Played Call of Duty Blackout. and got my first win
Woo-hoo!
with just some randos one night. Did a squad, got my first win, so that was cool.
Nice.
And that's pretty much all I've been doing.
What do you get for that? I mean, in PUBG, you get a chicken dinner, and Fortnite, you get I don't actually know what you get.
It says like there's like a medal comes up. It says I think no one left alive, or I don't know. It's
None
nothing like
left
crazy, like
standing,
See
like for Fortnite, they say victory royale. For PUBG, it's chicken dinner, and then for Call of Duty,
So
it's generic.
It's loneliness. It sounds like they reward you with loneliness. Like you've killed everyone. Good job. You're all by yourself, loser.
Yeah. There's no one left.
There's no one left. You're the only one. You have no friends. Congrats.
Killed them all.
Well, Call of Duty's never been about shtick anyway, so.
Yeah.
True.
So that's pretty much all I've been doing.
All right.
There's a video game lull right now. I'm waiting for the Red Dead Redemption to come out, and then I'm gonna play Spider-Man, the DLC with Catwoman or whoever it is.
Man, Red Dead Redemption looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm really pumped about it. They said it's gonna take, like, if you want to do everything, it's gonna be over 100 hours. The story missions alone are 60 hours.
Really?
Man,
So,
that is
yeah,
crazy. That is huge.
It's a Witcher 3 style.
So I'll see you after Christmas.
Involvement. So I'll be playing a ton of that. I'm, going from probably Blackout, Overwatch, and Red Dead Redemption. I think that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the year.
Lots of gunslinging.
So that's it for me. Well, one of the news stories that I saw this past week is, I don't know if you heard about that wrestler Roman Reigns. He's the current WWE Universal Champion on Raw, and he came out and he announced that he has been battling leukemia for 11 years. So 11 years ago, he's been doing this like very privately. No one really knew that he's been battling this at all. And he came out in Raw. He started talking. He said he was telling people his real name. The audience really didn't know what was going on because they thought it was another one of these acts. And after a couple minutes, people were like, "Oh my gosh, this guy is serious. He really does have leukemia. He's about to give up his dream, his championship." And they were showing people in the audience. People were actually sobbing. And it was very powerful to see something like that happen in professional sports. I mean, we were talking about this a few weeks ago when we were talking about the Conor McGregor fight, when in that realm, everybody hates each other. There's genuine hate in that. Yeah. And then I responded like, in WWE, they don't have that. They fight each other, they wrestle each other in the ring, but after that, they're all like friends in the back.
Yeah.
And there was a video that the behind the scenes video that WWE tweeted out. It's a couple minutes long, and Roman had gone to the back, and they had all these wrestlers back there, consoling him, hugging him, crying with him. I mean, it was a sight to see. It was actually pretty cool to see something like that. Someone who's going through something like that, and everyone banding together and saying, "Hey, we support you. We're going to be there for you." So it was actually pretty cool to see all that, both the audience and wrestlers in the back and backstage.
Yeah, that was really cool. I actually saw that video, I think when you posted it, whether it was on Twitter or Discord. I watched it yesterday morning. I had gone to another city to do a little meeting with some church leaders, and I was riding the bus back to Sao Paulo and was just, looking through Facebook and Twitter and that kind of stuff. And I saw that video, and initially I was like, oh, silly WWE stuff, and I wasn't really interested. I used to watch WWF when I was a really little kid with like Hulk Hogan and
back in the heyday.
Yeah, back in the heyday. I can't even remember their names. I wanted to say $1 Million Man. Was there one called $1 Million Man?
Yes, sir. Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man, and Jake the Snake Roberts, Macho Man, Randy Savage, all those guys. Anyways, but I got out of it, as I got older and that kind of stuff. So I haven't kept up with it, but I did watch this video, and I was very touched. Like, it was apparent that people didn't really get at first what was going on, but when he just kind of not only, said his real name and shared, what it seemed just was really sharing his heart. And he also just really revealed that I think he's a man of faith. Like, he really talked about how...
Yeah, he's a Catholic. He's a born Catholic.
Yeah. And
every time he comes down the ring, he does a cross across his chest.
Oh, does he? Cool.
Yeah.
So, I could tell he was a man of faith, and it was just really cool that he had an opportunity there, and he took it to connect with people and to really be real, to not just say, hey, I want to raise the ratings of WWE. It just seemed like he was being really genuine. So in a sport that, they're paid to ham it up, or they're paid to act like idiots and, drama and all that stuff. It was cool to kind of see behind the curtain. And I didn't get to watch that video that you posted afterwards behind the scenes, but I bet that was pretty cool just to see everybody kind of surrounding him and supporting him. So
yeah,
it's a heartwarming story to see. So
yeah, I would say if you get a chance, check that one out. That is a really good one. There's not a lot that happened in sports this week that were extremely interesting. So that is that is a good video to check out.
Yeah, so if there wasn't very much going on in sports this week, I think you had some free time to maybe watch a movie about a man who was super.
I did watch a movie.
Really? Ronnie, you really watched a movie about a guy named Superman?
Nope, I did not.
You're killing me, Smalls. Killing me,
you
Smalls.
You watched a movie.
You're killing me.
I handed you a movie, and you didn't watch
So-
it. You said, nay, I'm watching another
All right,
one.
I mean, so realistically, we gotta look at the situation here. Like, I can't go from 0 to 60 and just watch a bunch of movies one week, right? You got to start at 1,
Oh.
and then you got to build
Yeah.
up.
All right.
I've shown you it can be done.
That's why we asked you to watch one movie. We didn't ask you to watch
You
a
had
bunch
one
of
job.
I did.
Just one.
Technically, I did watch one movie, but
exactly.
I went rogue on the choice.
Yeah, you did. Well, save that one for later, buddy.
Got it.
'Cause I'm putting you in the corner for 10 minutes.
All right,
Temporary ban.
I'm just kidding.
penalty box.
Yeah, penalty box. Oh, jeez. How about you, Mark? What you got for us today?
So past week was great. I told you guys last episode I was going on a trip into the mountains of North Cackalacky, which
Wait, is that real?
yes, that is a thing.
North
That is a thing.
Kakalaki?
Sounds like a
They
children's
call it
theme
that.
park.
Yeah.
Why did you not tell us this last week? How many mountains did I name that you were just like, nope, not those. Nope, not those. And then you didn't say anything.
No. It's a nickname. They call it that. It's North Carolina, but anyway.
North Kakalaki is North Carolina?
Yeah, it's kind of a nickname kind of thing.
That is
fake news.
That is new information. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Patrick.
I wouldn't
That is
expect you to know
fake
that.
news. What do you mean? How would you not expect me to know that? Just because I live in Brazil? Are you judging me for not living in the United States? I'm from West Virginia.
I'm judging you for not living anywhere near North Carolina.
Anywhere
You live in
near
West Virginia.
That's like 10, 12 hours away.
He's
I used
judging
to
you
drive
for
to
only
North
having-
Carolina all the time.
He's
You act like
judging
I
you for
lived
only
in
having
Canada.
5 cereals.
You might as well have lived in Canada.
Are you, gosh, you got to be kidding me. All right. Well, we'll just move on. Tell us about this North Kakalaki trip. So,
Moving on.
No, in any case,
I don't want to move on from this.
just one more moment.
Let's all try and pronounce it.
just North Cackalacky.
North Cackalacky.
Why is it always something I say that you guys have to make fun of?
It's
But
only
anyway.
because we love you so much.
Is it? Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So actually, you mentioned last week, Lucas, that you were wondering if it was near the Appalachian Mountains.
I did.
And you are correct. It was near the Appalachian Mountains.
I could feel it in my
because
bones.
I'm sure you could. And it was near Appalachian State University. Appalachia, yeah. But in any case, so we went up into the mountains. It was my wife and I, and plus my in-laws, my mother and father-in-law, and brother and sister-in-law, and we rented a cabin up in the mountains, and it was awesome because the weather finally cooled down, and especially when we were in the mountains, it's even colder. So it just really felt like fall, and the leaves have finally started changing. So it was just great to see. It was just very fall-like,
Nice.
obviously being fall. But so we got up there, and immediately we come up to this house, which had so many switchbacks trying to get to the house. Like, I know we're on a mountain, but not a fan of switchbacks because I'm not about that motion sickness, which I totally get from those. But
Oh yeah, that's the risk of those switchbacks, is that good old motion sickness. Do you take any medication when you do those kind of things, like Dramamine or something?
I did not. I powered through it. I didn't know how bad it was going to be though, but I made it and it was fine. But we get to the house, and I immediately notice that the house is kind of next to or kind of adjacent to an old Baptist church. And it's one of those old Baptist churches that has a graveyard right next to it.
All right.
And so this graveyard, the way it's positioned, is on a hill directly in front of our house. And so pretty much the front yard is a graveyard.
So that was your view from your cabin.
Now, granted, you could see mountains, and it was beautiful and all that kind of stuff. And
just don't look over there.
Yeah, just don't look over there. They neglected to put that in the promotion on the website for the house.
Missed opportunity. That would be a selling point.
Great marketing.
Have you seen our graveyard? But in any case, the house is beautiful. Like I said, the interior is very cabin-like. Nice fireplace and all that kind of stuff. And so Thursday night we just kind of settled in and chilled out. I'm trying to remember where we went for dinner. I don't remember where we went for dinner that night.
Was it Mexican?
No, it was not Mexican.
Missed opportunity. Got to get some of that. Got to get some of that North Cackalacky Mexican. It's amazing.
Sounds hot.
Get some of that.
And I love you at the same time. This is a weird feeling.
Get some of that Cackalacky Caliente sauce on it.
If there's not a North Cackalacky Mexican restaurant, that's a missed opportunity, because I'd definitely go there. Hey, where are you going? A North Cackalacky.
I'm so sorry to all you North Carolinians out there who know that exists. But anyway, so yeah, we went to dinner that night, and then next day some of us went hiking. I was not among those people, but we went elsewhere to this like old school like mansion that had been there for like 100 years or something like that, and got to check that out and walk some of the trails, but we didn't go like full on hiking or anything. But in any case, after that, we just hung out at the house. So a lot of time hanging out at the house, just playing the Exploding Kittens. We actually got some cornhole.
I love that vomiting cats game. It's so good.
Yes.
Gross.
You guys are just like checking off the list of all the ways you've made fun of me. And so I'm glad we're getting that in. I feel like y'all should get like trophies for each time you name it.
It's like a warm.
Ooh, sweet. We get trophies? All right, so I'm going for the platinum.
All right, do it.
We get belts we have to tie around our heads instead of our waists. Different colors.
like
got the green belt.
Like I can have a...
Wow. Okay. So Saturday we basically went into town. There's this like little strip of shops and stuff, like very like homey in the mountains kind of retail shops. There was like this candle shop where they like make all these specially designed candles with different obviously different scents, anything you could think of. But we checked that out, and there's this fudge and ice cream shop that we always could check out when we're there. And we just walked down the strip of all those shops. Now a lot of those shops are not for me. they're very much for my wife and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law.
So like lingerie and...
No, not that far. Not that far.
Okay.
Not that far. Just
everybody's paying attention. Here we go.
Hey. Like, was it more like home decor and flowers and like, I don't know, decorations and stuff? You're gonna have to be more specific. We have no idea where you're going with this. So, okay.
Yeah, female designer clothes and stuff like that.
North Cackalacky fashion. Gotcha.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
So we checked that out, and that was awesome. And on the gaming front, since I was in the mountains, the internet was not the best. So my gaming time was limited, although I did play some Blackout with Patrick for a little bit. And also played some with my father-in-law as well. But gaming was kind of at a minimum. Happens. Yeah, it does.
It can be kind of hard, I think, during vacation sometimes to kind of squeeze that in. But at least you had your father-in-law to join you, and Patrick. So
yeah, and we tend to do it late at night anyway. So most of our family is in bed anyway. But that leads me into today, which was quite an interesting event on the work front. I told you guys a little bit off air. So this morning, for those of you who may not know, and I'm sure there are those that do know because I've mentioned it on the podcast, I work in the service department at a car dealership. And this morning we had a customer come in with their vehicle for it to get serviced. And one of my coworkers was bringing it around to the mechanic for it to get worked on. He was driving it around and apparently noticed 3 little baggies hidden somewhere in the car. I don't remember exactly where he said he saw it.
Of Cheerios?
No. This was the little baggies of white powder. And not sugar.
Confectional sugar?
No,
yeah.
It's not sugar.
Confection.
Wow, for real?
That is crazy.
There were 3 little baggies of cocaine. Inside the car.
Oh my god!
So what did he do? They just reported to their managers, then they called like the police or something, or?
Yeah, basically that's what happened. They told everybody about it, and they came and took pictures, and then the manager ended up. Yeah.
Real quick, Mark, do you know? I'm curious to know about the identification process of bags of cocaine, because my only reference is movies, and in movies they either dip their pinky in it and taste it on their tongue, or they use it. So I'm curious to know, did they identify it as cocaine, or was it just like, this could be cocaine, so we're calling the police?
I think the way that it was presented, I did not see it. So I don't know what it looked like, but from the way it sounded, they come in like little clumps. So that's why they call it rocks of cocaine. And so it was looking like that, and
or did it on the baggies? Did it say cocaine?
Was it labeled correctly?
No.
Yeah.
From my stash
cocaine
of cocaine
with a K.
Backwards.
Yeah.
But no, and then when the police came, they actually searched the vehicle to see if there was any other drugs located inside the vehicle. And when they were all gone, I went and talked to the mechanic. I said, "So was it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it was drugs, man." I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's crazy. Did you see the guy's reaction, like when he realized the jig was up and he had been busted?
I did not.
Mark, what were you doing? Were you just working the whole time? Come on, man. You gotta get in on this stuff.
Well, I did have to keep working, and the dude was in the waiting room. But in any case, I don't know the full situation, but I think he had purchased it from a rental company prior to that.
The cocaine or the car?
Oh, yeah.
The car.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna blame it on the rental.
Oh, right.
Yep. Sure. That's not mine. I don't know how it got there.
That came from the North Cackalacky Cocaine Rental Company I saw down the street.
That's probably the crazy drug name on the outside of the outside of the bag. Cackalacky.
This is North Cackalacky Pure right here.
That's right. Oh, man.
You guys make my brain hurt.
We try sometimes.
But
love you, man.
You do. Love you too. But as far as I know, they couldn't prove that they were his. But that's about all I know about it. But it was just interesting to see like a whole bunch of cops just standing there in front of the car while this guy is searching the car. Just not a way I thought I was going to start my my Wednesday morning. Excuse me. I guess I don't know what day it is.
They all blend together every once in a while.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
But that is my week. Lucas.
All right.
How was your week, sir?
I did not get to visit North Cackalacky, nor did I have any cocaine incidents in my neck of the woods, unfortunately. Life in Brazil has been somewhat business as usual as I continue working from home. Over this past weekend, I did get a chance to speak at a mission conference for around 200 people on Saturday. So that was really cool to kind of share about the ministry that I coordinate and kind of share stories and connect with people that want to help in missions and all that kind of stuff. So that was really cool. But some other highlights from this past week. Over this past weekend on Sunday, my son James celebrated his 6th birthday. Happy birthday, James.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Happy birthday, James.
Yeah. And I think he had a really good day. It all started by having his favorite breakfast, a little bit of cheesy bread that here in Brazil we call pão de queijo. And after that, we went to church, and I told the pastor that it was my son's birthday, so everybody's like 150 people sang happy birthday to him in Portuguese, and then James got to pray.
Nice.
He got to pray in front of the church for the kids because they always dismiss the kids right before the sermon, and James loves to pray, and he prayed in Portuguese. And
oh wow,
yeah, it was really
cool.
And you know what, I had a brain fart for a moment, and I was just taking pictures, and Mindy's like, "Are you recording this?" And I'm like, I wish I was recording this, and I totally did not record it, but it was still really cool to experience and to do that with him. Then we had cake. He had a Halloween themed cake with a little jack-o'-lantern on the top of it and all that stuff, and then also various family members from the U.S. FaceTimed with us and sang along the happy birthday song with him in the evening. So it was just an all-around good day. Of course, his sister, Natasha, who's 8 years old, she was very jealous of all the attention he was getting. But she'll get over it. Her time will come next year in March when she turns 9. But speaking of Tasha, she did want to give us some, actually, I say us, she really wanted to give me some podcast feedback. The other day she was listening to a little bit and she was like, "Dad, your voice, it sounds really weird."
Jeez.
And after she gave me that really positive feedback, she's like, "You know what you should do? Next time you record, Dad, you should go upstairs, wake me up, and I can join in on the podcast."
No way.
Yeah, she totally wants me to go wake her up so that she can be on the podcast. It's so funny. It's so cute.
She could be our first guest.
And yeah, wouldn't that be?
All right,
go get her.
Step 1, Dad. This is where you put your face.
Yeah.
This is how you get it right.
Yeah.
Enunciate, Dad.
You sound weird. You need to put me on the podcast instead, okay?
See, I thought you were about to tell
All right.
us that she was there with you and she had been quiet this whole time, and here she is.
Yep.
Surprise.
Introducing my daughter.
It's got a little stick she pokes him with when he messes up.
Yeah.
No.
Just hear her in the background. Tag me in, Dad. Tag me in.
Yeah. You're sounding weird again. It's my turn. So, and then after this weekend, the celebration continued as Mindy and I celebrated our 18-year dating anniversary, if you can call it that.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
And officially now we have spent half or more than half of our lives together. So
that's a big milestone, man. That's
that was
awesome.
a really cool milestone to celebrate with her. And I mean, of course, by celebrate, it was a normal working day. She came home from work. I gave her a hug and kiss. and we watched shows that night, and just hung out, Netflix and chill, that kind of stuff.
That sounds perfect though.
It is. It's really we're homebodies. We love them little mini staycations. So
yeah, it's
good stuff. Besides that, in gaming, my kids have continued their NES education and progressed more. Excitebike was their game of choice, but this past week it was Punch-Out. And
Punch-Out, yes.
Ooh, I have to hear this.
Yes,
I love me some Punch-Out.
I love me some Punch-Out as well. I don't think I've ever beaten Mr. Dream, but I remember when I was a kid beating all the other boxers throughout the game. And so, I kind of have high expectations for my kids to really grab onto this game. So I just gave them the controller late last week, and they started playing, and they didn't really get it at first. They kept punching the same way, and it took them a little bit to figure out how to dodge and all that stuff. Yeah. My daughter was not a natural at first, and she got knocked out by Glass Joe, which is kind of sad when you lose to Glass Joe, the first guy you lose to him. I kind of I tried to be positive, and I'm like, you know what? You'll get him next time, Tasha. You'll get him next time.
You guys made a glass.
And so, he's made of glass. How can you not knock him out? So anyways, my son went next, and he decided he wanted to play Punch-Out standing up, jumping around like a wild man. And let me tell you what, he beat Glass Joe, and he almost beat the German von Kaiser. Like, nice. He came within like...
On his first try?
On his first try. It blew me away. I was like, my man, you're my son. It's confirmed.
My flesh and blood.
Yeah. If there were any doubts before, I know for sure he's my son now. But he really surprised me there. But then later on in the weekend, my daughter had a second go, and she beat Glass Joe. She beat Von Kaiser.
Whoa.
And then she lasted half a round against Piston Honda, and that was the end of that. But Piston Honda, sure. You cannot fool around with Piston Honda. He's probably one of the first fighters that are like you have to dodge and you have to wait. My kids just have the tendency to press the buttons and jump around. I mean, and that's where we all start. But it was really cool getting to experience that with them and just watch them play. And they request it. Like, they're like, I want to play Punch-Out. Tasha's like, I want to play Punch-Out. And so it's really exciting. And of course, as I've mentioned before, doing this NES education with my kids has really, it's really given me kind of an itch to play more old school classics like Nintendo, Super Nintendo through the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic. And so with that, it's inspired me to temporarily switch horses from my Sony Pony to the Nintendo Newfoundland. I'm switching horses. Did you know there was a horse called a Newfoundland? I just found that out earlier this week.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
It's not fake news. It's real news.
You knew I was going to say.
Yeah, I knew you guys were going to jump on it before you did. But I'm taking a little break from my trophy hunting, not 100%, but mostly, and I have started what I'm calling the Classic Nintendo Challenge. And as I mentioned, I have the NES Classic, I have the Super Nintendo Classic. I've been spending a lot of time playing those with my kids, and it's just given me this incredible amount of nostalgia. And I've really enjoyed not having to blow on the cartridges. I can't tell you how much nostalgia that gives me to blow on the cartridges, but yet now that I can just play whatever game I want and I don't have to just
well, it wasn't just blowing on the cartridges. It was like press and reset.
And that's true.
Pushing the cartridge from side to side while I was in the console.
And you had to I don't know if you guys did this. You bang it up and down, like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, and then you press power real fast.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like blowing
there was no science to that.
Blowing into those cartridges actually ruins the cartridge even more.
Yeah. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, here the way to make it work is to get it wet. I'm like, how's that supposed to work? Isn't that gonna ruin it?
I'm pretty sure I did the little like just blew a little spit on it to see if that would help. It never helped. Not even a little bit.
I guess all our NES cartridges perpetually had dust inside of them, and so that's how we figured the only way to fix them was.
Yeah, just blow on it. So I haven't missed that at all. So it's been really nice to play the old school classics that way. And I don't know if anybody's done this quote unquote classic Nintendo challenge, but pretty much I'm gonna try to beat all 51 games or complete.
That is a mountain to climb.
All 51 games. Yeah.
51 games.
It's 51 NES and Super, SNES classics. It's been quoted. I got on the How Long to Beat, HLTB.com, and looked up all the games to see how long they supposedly take to beat, and it's around 360 hours worth of good times, about 15 total playing days if you did not sleep and you just played and played and played and played.
He is on a NES quest.
I am on a NES. That's a a NES quest. Yeah, you could say that. I am. So I started, on Friday, and I decided to go in release order of the games to give you a little idea of what's going on with this challenge. And I started with Excite Bike.
Very nice.
Yes. So Excite Bike. And according to HLTB.com, it was supposed to only take me 35 minutes to quote unquote beat it. But after 5 playing days and about 4 hours of gaming, I have completed it, folks. I have completed it. It only took
man.
It only took, what would that be, like 8 times the amount of minutes that I was supposed to take me?
It's going to take you 1,500 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. We're gonna have to quadruple all the hours or whatever that number is for 8 times the hours. But it was a slugfest, guys. I'm gonna be honest. If you guys don't remember the game Excite Bike, it had 3 parts to it. It had Selective A, which was time trials, Selective B, which were races, and Design, which was like track builder. And each of the first 2, Selective A and B, have 5 tracks each. And they have multiple variations. Usually you had to beat 2 versions of the track before you go to the next one. Mm-hmm. But pretty much it was 10 total races that you had to complete between doing time trials. And, when I say complete, all you had to do was get 3rd place or better to move to the next track. So I consider that beating it. I didn't go for 1st place. I'm not that crazy. At times it was pretty breezy and easy, but sometimes it was a crash fest. The crash and the landing physics in these Nintendo games are downright awful sometimes. The crash animation, like when you don't hit a landing right and you're going up a hill, you'll roll up the hill, then you'll roll down the hill, and it takes like 5 seconds for this animation to complete. And then
and that sound is so debilitating.
It started out as debilitating, and then after the 3rd or 4th day, it got infuriating. Like I definitely by yesterday and today, I lost my cool a couple times. Actually, today when I did the last track, the only thing that saved me from screaming and jumping up and down were my kids were in the room, and I was like, "Just be cool, man. Be cool.
It's just a game.
It's just a game." And my kids say that sometimes. Sometimes they're like, "Dad, remember, it's just a game." It's like throwing my words back at me because they know I say that to them all the time.
Kids, remember, shut up.
Yeah. Remember what Daddy always says. Go to your room.
Go to your room.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I have to tell you guys one thing that saved me is discovering that with the classics, you can save scum. I don't know if you've ever done this in a game before, but save scumming is when you're about to die, or that you reached a part where you can't officially save, but if you reset the game, it'll save your spot. And so you don't have to go through all the old stuff again. So, because what I discovered with Excite Bike was like I said, there were always 2 versions to the track when time trials and races. And so if I screwed up the 2nd variation, it would send me back to the 1st variation. And so I had to do a bunch of races over again. And at first it was super maddening, but then I discovered I could hit reset when I was in a good spot, and I could save my spot. Geez. So then I didn't have to go through all that other stuff again.
Cheater.
No.
Cheater,
so no.
You beat it. You beat it. However, if you didn't do the reset, it would have taken you...
Oh, man.
How long?
I don't know. I don't even want to think about how long it would have taken me.
There's an asterisk next to that completion.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take the asterisk.
I'll take it.
I'll take it because I completed the game. I did all 10 tracks. I did the design, of course. That last track, though, in the race, I failed at least 30 times, and it was bad. But you know what? It was a fun but arduous challenge. And next up, I'm going to be playing through Ice Climbers. So
Ice Climbers.
We'll see how that goes. I've played it a couple times with my kids, but I didn't grow up playing that game, so that one's going to be a fresh one for me. So with this challenge that I put upon myself and I've been going through, it got me to thinking. I'm wondering in this group, are any of you guys interested in starting a challenge maybe of some kind? I was thinking about, some challenges you guys could do. You guys like challenges?
No.
Yeah, I'm scared to say yes.
Well, I want to give you some ideas. Just some things I thought of. Like Patrick, I thought a good challenge for you would be to learn and sing every country's theme song, or at least a country's theme song once a week for us on the podcast. Or you could watch and review this and old episodes of Doctor Who or Pixar movies on the podcast, like all of them.
All the Pixar?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a good challenge.
Ooh.
See?
I'm already in. I mean, I've watched a few of them already.
You've already watched some.
How many are there?
Nice.
How many are there? Do we know?
How many
So
Pixar
do I need to
movies?
review these? I mean, do I just watch them, just like forget about them?
No,
like I
you
do with Wally.
We just wanted Julius Caesar thumbs up or down.
Yeah, that's all we're asking right now. No, I mean, like for me, I've been like each day I've given a little blurb and given a photo of playing Excite Bike or playing a Nintendo game and just kind of given like my experience. And it could be something as simple as just, whenever you watch a Pixar movie, you give a little blurb and talk about your experience on Twitter, or you update us on the podcast. I think that would be a fun little challenge to watch all the Pixar movies. And you got kids, you got great incentive to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I can watch them, but I will only have it to be a one-word review.
One word review. Okay, that's it. That makes it an interesting challenge for sure. All right, I think you should mull over that and definitely,
I'll map it out.
And do that. Ronnie, for you, I was thinking you could just watch Superman. That's your challenge.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
Good luck.
Good luck. And then for Mark, I thought he could get some platinums maybe. Or a good challenge for Mark would be only consume Marvel for the next 6 months and not consume any DC.
Well, I'm not doing that second one, so...
I know. I wouldn't expect you to. I was just messing with you. Well, overall, it sounds to me... Yeah, if you don't...
Nope, used to do that, not doing that again.
Well, it sounds like to me like you guys are a little scared to jump into some of these challenges. Speaking of scared, there is a scary holiday coming upon us, am I right?
I think so.
And it's also our topic of the show. That's right, folks. Today we are talking about all things Halloween, because that's the holiday coming upon us. Good old-fashioned Halloween. Some of the scariest traditions in movies and video games are based on Halloween, and maybe some of you guys have experienced them. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things we're scared of, our Halloween experiences. But before we do that, I wanted to give a little background on this diabolical yet misunderstood holiday. Did you guys know that many believe that it was started by a Celtic or Gaelic holiday that was Christianized back in the day? And that there are others who believe, God bless you, and there are others who believe it was a separate holiday created by Christians to compete with the pagan or worldly holidays at the time. But regardless of the origins, I think it's a holiday that is about remembering the dead, celebrating those who have gone before, Some take it seriously, some make it about witches and vampires and other mythical undead creatures. Some confuse it with the Day of the Dead, the Mexican tradition and holiday steeped in Catholicism and honoring the dead, family members and friends, that is actually celebrated a few days later on November 2nd. But that's just some of the background information on Halloween. Let's talk about our personal experiences. What has Halloween been like for you guys growing up, when you were kids, going into adulthood? You can share about costumes, traditions, you name it. As long as it's Halloween, we can talk about it.
I'll go first. So, I mean, as with many other kids, I certainly went trick-or-treating when I was little. Pretty much went until, I want to say I was probably 13 or 14, something like that. I went trick-or-treating. And I think my first memory of Halloween was, obviously I'm a big Batman fan, and I had dressed up that year as Batman, and I had one of those, like, those plastic masks that you put right in front of your face with like the two little nose holes and one little mouth hole so you can breathe.
Everybody sounds like Darth Vader in this.
Yeah, and pretty much, even though they supplied those holes for you, you still couldn't breathe. But
imagine that.
Yeah. So I just remember being really mad because obviously Halloween, end of October in New Hampshire.
Hold on a second. Wait, you were Batman and there was a slit for your mouth? Why would that be? Shouldn't it be like around your mouth?
So let's go back.
Isn't that what Batman is?
Should have been a little more open, right?
Let's go back to plastic mask for a moment.
Did you get that at the dollar store?
No, this was the 90s.
Oh, okay.
But
Kmart.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was one of those, like, cheap plastic masks with like this like onesie sort of jumpsuit costume, with like a Velcro cape. And so, but what made me mad was that, like I said, this was end of October in New Hampshire at Halloween. It's cold. It's very cold out. And so my parents, being the responsible parents they were, forced me to wear this like heavy jacket. And I'm sorry,
you look like Batman the Marshmallow Man?
Yeah, basically. I was not.
Batman gets cold sometimes. He needs to wear a jacket. Was it a Batman jacket?
No, that's the sad part. It wasn't even a Batman jacket.
It was a
It was the
starter
90s. It was a windbreaker for sure.
It was not a windbreaker. It was a heavy jacket, but I did not want to wear that jacket. But my parents made me wear it, and so I felt like I looked stupid. Because here I am in all black as Batman, and I've got this like blue jacket on. Blue. It was like blue, red, and white. I think there was like Patriots colors or something like
Superman
that.
colors.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think wasn't that when we were kids? That's what Halloween was all about, right? Our parents making us look like idiots. Like my parents dressed me up like a Smurf. They put blue crap all over my face, put a sock on my head, put like white tighty whitey underwear on me, and then said, "Hey son, you're a Smurf. Go get candy so that we can eat it later."
And that led you to be the man you are today.
That's right. Well, I think a few years later. Yeah.
Job well done.
Yeah. Well, a few years later, I think my parents took a trash bag and put it over top of me and made me a California raisin, and sported me all through the neighborhood. Fine, honey, honey. Yeah, they made me sing too. It was magical.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I think that was the whole point of it. That's why they did it. I think that's why they started it in suburban United States, was just to make their kids look funny and to get candy.
Basically,
I don't remember any actual costume that I wore. Like nothing really stands out. All I was thinking about was I need to get candy. I need to get candy. Candy now. Next house. Let's go. What is this, a penny? What is this? This is ridiculous.
Patrick, you were that kid that just like put an eye patch on and they were like, "Yeah, I'm a pirate. Give me candy."
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I'm gonna most minimal amount of effort. I need to get candy.
I could not stand those kids. That is so non-committal. You got to commit to it. Commit to the part. That's how you get more candy. Making a commitment, just like the car dealership. Make a commitment. Woo me. Then you'll get your candy.
I don't think kids' commitment levels are very high.
You don't want to. So I got the. Speaking of costumes, this will not woo you at all. So I got this Superman costume, and it is like one of those sizes where it's like if I went a size up, it'd be like really baggy. If I went a size down, like the pant legs would be up to my shins. So I was like right in the middle of this, the size. So I got the size, and I got this. It's a big, puffy Superman costume. I think you've seen it before.
Wait, we should specify. We should specify for the listeners. This is present time.
Yeah, this is now.
Yes,
we're not talking about when you were a kid.
Is last year.
This is talking about adult Patrick using.
I finally got enough money to get my own costumes.
I'm a big boy. I can get my
own Power
costume.
Ranger, my own Batman, my own Darth Vader. All the costumes I wanted when I was a kid.
True.
I wanted something better than a trash bag looking like a razor.
Hey man, I rocked it. Thank you very much. I had soul. I had soul. Soul power. I owned it.
Never gotten more candy in his life.
So
that's right.
And then when your costume was all finished up with, then they could put it in the trash barrel.
Exactly.
That's right.
They just dropped the candy right in your costume.
That's right. That's right. It was two birds with one raisin. It was a perfect outfit.
Yeah, so this costume, the Superman costume, it is right in the middle of the sizes where I should be. So when I put it on, it's a little tight in the nether regions.
The no-no square.
That's a word? Yeah, the no-no square.
The no-no square.
The no-no spot. So if I don't pull down this costume, the pant legs, there is an outline of some things.
Shapes.
Some geometric shapes. Trapezoid.
And I didn't notice it did this until I was at the church's trunk or treat last year. My wife's like, you need to pull those down.
The Novosel family came ready to party.
Patrick, please. Patrick, you got to tell me. Please tell me afterwards. Some of the board members or leader, they were like, "Hey, Patrick, thanks to you, we're renaming Trunk or Treat to Junk or Treat next year. Thank you very much."
and honest to God, they did say Junk or Treat.
Are you serious? That's hilarious.
They didn't say they're gonna rename it, but it was definitely said.
It definitely came up. Oh my gosh, that is so
I didn't
funny.
realize it until my wife was said something about it. I'm like, okay. So, but they had taken a picture between me and my buddy Chris. He was Batman and I was Superman. So we were standing there, and I was doing the old Superman pose, the fists on the hips and everything like that.
Of course,
and it was just
thrusting your hips forward.
My gosh, that is so bad. Wow. I can't believe I did that.
Wow.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Man.
So, anywho. In any case.
I don't know if anybody here can top that.
Yeah, I definitely should have went.
Ronnie,
I definitely should have went before him.
Yeah.
You know what?
Tell us about that time you went as Magic Mike on for
that was last year.
Yeah.
No, so my memories of Halloween are, I guess, different. I never liked trick or treating. I like to go out and hang out with my family, and my cousins are right around the same age and everything. But I always remember thinking as I'm going through this, man, this is not even worth it. This isn't even worth candy. Now I got to run from house to house because everybody else is excited. But for me, the coolest part about Halloween was I feel like every year I end up being some version of some scary mask with a cape. Because it's kind of just you get the cape, you get some kind of scary mask, bam. But the best part about Halloween was always going into that that fake weapons section in the Halloween store. You're trying to pick out your items. You're like, oh my God, all of these are awesome. How am I going to pick one of these? It's I need, I'd like to go in there now and look around in there. But that was my favorite part about Halloween.
Yeah, that's cool. I had that phase too. I went through that phase where I was I was Jason. Like, when I say I was Jason, I just put on a hockey mask and wore like jeans and a plaid shirt or something like that. I had one year where I was like a cyborg / off-brand Terminator, where I had like a plastic hand that had little handles inside, and I put my sleeve up real high so it looked like I had a Terminator hand, except it wasn't a Terminator hand. It was like a Cyborginator hand. Like, it was totally off-brand. I probably bought it at the dollar store where was it Mark bought stuff from the dollar store? I can't remember who bought stuff from the dollar store. Oh, from Kmart. Yeah, I got it from Kmart. You just go through that phase where you're just like, I just want to get some candy as quickly as possible. I'll just throw on some scary stuff like when you're becoming a pre-adolescent teenager. So I feel you, Ronnie. Been there.
Yep.
I think one of my favorite memories of Halloween for me was I had some extended family that had a farm that we would go to every year, because they would basically have this huge display on their property of decorated pumpkins, carved pumpkins, and these were all like incredible looking designs that they did, and it was really cool, and tons of people would show up, and I just have fond memories of that. That was always one of the stops that we would go on in terms of trick-or-treating. We'd hit up our neighborhood, and then we'd go to my grandparents' neighborhood, and the farm wasn't too far from my grandparents' house. So yeah, I just love. I have very fond memories of going there and seeing all the awesome decorative pumpkins. So
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed Halloween more once my parents loosened their grip on me and stopped dressing me up like an idiot, and I could choose what kind of idiot I wanted to look like when I could be in control. It was nice. Like, I remember one year, well, as an adult, I dressed up. My wife and I dressed up as Neo and Trinity from The Matrix. That was pretty cool. Cool. I have a digital picture of that, so maybe this coming week I'll post it on Twitter and stuff and show you guys. It's pretty.
I will not post my picture.
Please do not post your
from the waist up.
Yeah. No, please don't. But I tell you what, one of my favorite memories of Halloween was when I was in college and I was visiting for like fall break, and I totally wasn't even paying attention in college. I was studying and having fun with my friends, and I visited home. I just so happened to visit home while they were doing trick-or-treating that weekend, and I just, for whatever reason, the light bulb came on, and I was like, man, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm too old to go trick-or-treating, but I still want to have fun. And so I dressed up like a scarecrow before all the trick-or-treaters were out, stuffed hay and stuff in my neck and my shirt and my pants and all that to look like I was like filled with hay and not real.
Inanimate object.
Inanimate object. And I put myself in the front yard and I waited like a predator. I just waited for my
lure them all in.
No,
I just lured them all in.
That's the wrong word
and
to say.
I can't tell you. Oh, that's true. I never even thought of that.
Come, have a seat over here.
Come here, little boy, little girl. Come sit with me. Sit on my lap. No. Retract that. Good. Just rewind. And so, anyways.
So can we edit that out?
Yeah. Can we edit out the inner?
Nope.
No, we're keeping that out.
I don't know how to edit that out.
I'm just going to roll with it. So anyways, pretty much I dressed up like a scarecrow so I could scare people. And I scared so many kids. It was awesome. Like,
cool.
My family helped me and my friends, and I looked fake. Like, I just looked like a fake scarecrow. And people would walk up to me. They would get right in my face and poke me. And you would get, like, these kids super scared, and then their dad would be like, oh, that's not real. That's not a person. That's just fake. And then he would get up real close to me, and I would just jump and like make him scream or make him jump too.
Awesome!
It was so awesome. And there was one kid. He was kind of nervous, but he wanted to see if I was real, and he went to poke me, and I jumped up and grabbed his arm and was like, "Trick or treat!"
Oh,
and this kid, I'm pretty
Scar
sure.
This kid for life.
Well, not only do I think he peed his pants, he ran down the street. And I'm telling you, I looked down in the street, and he ran down the whole street until he was a tiny dot.
10 miles
it was
back
so
south.
funny. And I did not feel guilty whatsoever. It was so worth it and so funny.
He probably tells that story a little differently nowadays.
He probably does to his therapist. Yeah, he's talking to his therapist. He's like, everything was fine until this man grabbed me and screamed in my face.
That was the day.
I can all trace it back to this day.
Yeah. But yeah, so for me, Halloween's always been about fun and games. Now, I will tell you guys, in Brazil, it is not fun and games. Here in Brazil, it's actually not even a holiday that's really celebrated. It's a holiday that's pretty misunderstood, I think, but rightly so, because for a lot of people in Brazil, a lot of people have family members that have actually experienced or participated in witchcraft, and so because of the witches and the vampires and all the dead related things, the magic involved in a lot of Halloween themed things. Halloween is very frowned upon here, so it doesn't happen very much. And, on one side for the culture, I completely understand it, and I would in no way push it for anyone to celebrate Halloween or do trick-or-treating or dress up like ghouls and ghosts and all that stuff. However, it really makes me sad for my kids because they don't get a chance to experience, and experience some of that fun trick-or-treating, have some of those, just build some of those fun memories with Halloween. But if they did, then I would be able to answer our buddy ThatChaufie, or at ThatChaufie's question on Twitter that he asked. He said, do you guys slap a dad tax on your kids' Halloween candy? Now, I think only two of us can answer this question. Truly, only one of us
go to the neighbors
can answer this question. So, Patrick, is there a dad tax in your household?
No, there's not really a dad tax. My kids are usually willing to share some of their candy. So usually the stuff that they like, I don't like, and vice versa. So I really don't need to do any dad taxing.
Really? I'm surprised at that. I would have to say that for myself. I don't limit things to Halloween. I pretty much do a dad tax once a week, sometimes once a day if they're, depending on what's going on. I'm one of those dads that's just like, yep, I'm gonna take my bite. Oh, you want some chips? Sure. And then I eat a few chips and then I give them the chips. Oh
yeah, I do the chip thing.
So ThatChaufie, I'm all about the dad tax. I think it's necessary. They owe us that much. After all the poopy diapers I've changed and the things I've done for both my kids, the least they can do is let me have some of their treats, some of their snacks. And so I do dad tax all the time. And if Halloween were a thing here, I would totally be doing like a 50% dad tax, like grabbing all the good stuff.
50%?
I've been in Brazil.
Highway robbery.
I've been in Brazil for 6 years, and that's the kind of tax we deal with here in Brazil. So I gotta when in Rome, you gotta do what the Romans do. So that's just how it is.
The Romans
didn't steal candy. When in Rome has been said.
That's a popular saying. I don't know if you've heard it before, but it is. So on Facebook, our pal Duncan Rogers, to switch gears a little bit to the more scary, he wanted to know, have you guys ever had any paranormal experiences? Halloween, like we said, we've been talking about the fun side of Halloween, but Halloween also is known for hauntings and scary stuff. I don't know if you guys ever did haunted houses, which those are, silly. But they're based in kind of paranormal experiences that people have had in the past, people still have. So have you guys had any paranormal experiences you want to share about?
Yeah, I actually have a couple. One, at my work, I have a drawer. So there's 2 drawers at my work. And you have to pull it open. It's, you lock it, you open and unlock it, and you have to pull it open. And every once in a while, I will turn back and the drawer is all the way open. And the only way you can open it is to yank at it. So I don't know what's going on there, but it happens regularly. I don't know if it's just me just leaving it out. I'm not even noticing. I open it up and I never close it. But that's not, I don't think that's the case, because sometimes I'm never even in that drawer. But sometimes it just all of a sudden I look back, it's open, all of it. So I don't know what's going on there, if that's a paranormal thing or not, or if I'm just an idiot and I'm sleeping at work. I don't know.
You got a haunted drawer. Look out! Do you have are there snacks in the drawer? Maybe the ghost is hungry.
No, it's like procedures and processes.
Maybe it's
like,
eager to learn.
I see you drowning. I need to help you out.
Hey, maybe it's the ghost of Johnny Five, and he wants input.
Wow.
Yes.
Come on.
If it's ghost of
Johnny Five is alive.
Cool. Yeah. If I see him rolling around on my floor, I would not be scared. I'd be like, that's sweet.
Sweet. I'm being haunted by a ghost
robot.
A ghost robot from a movie. Oh man.
The other one was actually not mine, but it was my brother's. It was his first house that he had bought, and he would have just strange things happen in his house, where pictures would drop, chairs would move from where they were in front of doors. There was one time my sister had spent the night over there while my brother and his wife were out of town, so she was staying in one of the rooms, and when she had went back out into the living room, one of the chairs had moved. Like, it was one of those big, huge lounge chairs that rock back, and the leg thing comes up. It went from where it was in front of the front door, back in the bedroom. The TV had turned all the way around to where it was facing the wall.
What?
Yeah.
Ew.
They had
Creepy.
multiple things happen in this house, to a point where my brother's wife had done like a cleansing or something, something where it was like, hey, we're not here to hurt you, or whatever was said. But I don't think once they did that, it never happened again.
Huh.
But it happened so often that
crazy.
they had to have someone come in and make sure that this is what was going on. But yeah, the creepiest thing was a TV turning around. It wasn't one of those like flat screen TVs. It was the big, huge, fat back TVs, the CRT TVs that had turned all the way around and faced the wall.
Oh, I'd have been out of there, man.
Yeah, like,
as soon as I seen that, I'd have walked right out the door after I moved the chair out of the way.
Johnny Five sounds way better.
Yeah,
for sure. Oh man. You guys have any other paranormal?
I do not.
Paranormal events? No?
Yeah, that's a negative for me.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to join you, Patrick. I have a couple kind of related stories that, I wouldn't consider them paranormal, but some people maybe would. I actually have had spiritual encounters with demons. And when I was in high school, and actually it was both when I was in high school and when I was in college. Both times I was by myself. One of the times it was at night, and the other time it was during the day. And the first time it happened, when I was in high school, I was asleep, and I woke up and I looked at the foot of my bed, and I saw two red eyes looking at me.
What?
Two red eyes looking at me.
Oh my god!
And I immediately freaked out, and but I froze. Like, when you wake up suddenly and you can't move. It was like one of those deals where I freaked out, but I couldn't move, and so I just started praying and singing, and praying and singing. And while I was praying and singing, I could feel like a resistance, like a force resisting against me, and I started to have like a ringing in my ears, and my head started to like a shaking, like feeling over my body. It was so weird, and I just kept singing. I kept praying.
So how old were you when this happened?
I was in high school, so I was 15, 16 years old.
Wow.
And I'll never forget it. It was both one of the scariest moments of my life and one of the most impactful moments in my life, because when I got to the other end of that, it was the first day that I realized that the devil couldn't hurt me. As a Christian, I was like, you know what? God's bigger. And, I really felt, when I went through that I really, I came out on the other end in a stronger relationship with him, and a great respect for those who have dealt with that kind of stuff before. And so then in college, I was.
So hold on a second. These red eyes, were they like just like bright eyes, or did you see
they were like
an outline of a face or anything, or did you just saw?
No, I just
eyes?
I saw two like they're just two bright eyes. I don't know. It was because I shut my eyes really fast once I saw him, and I just immediately got that just like that. And I don't know. It was like an impending doom feeling on me, and I just immediately started praying in faith. And then when I was in college, I was in my room again, and this time I was taking a nap, and I all of a sudden woke up, and I just felt this presence, and it was the same exact feeling that I had in high school, and I just started to pray again, and I don't remember if I saw anything or what, but this time it was more of a feeling, and I just knew that I wasn't alone, and I just started to pray and sing again, and I had the same experience, and again God came through and kind of brought me through it. So. But that's the closest thing that I've had to, paranormal activity in my own life. So, continuing the scary talk, I have a multi-layered question for you guys, and it's don't let it scare you. It's multi-layered. It's for multiple people, but it's all kind of related, and it's from all three different social media outlets that we use. So from Facebook, our buddy CJ Pennington, and from Discord, our other buddy Tim Paullin. They both wanted to know the same thing. What is your favorite scary movie? Tim said that he used to love them when he was younger, and now he's like, hey, that crazy stuff could actually happen. So maybe he doesn't like to watch it as much. In addition to that, and hand in hand with that question from Twitter, my Brazilian brother Gabriel at Gabe Pavao, he asked a slightly related question to go with it. If you guys could erase one good horror movie from your memory just to watch it again, which movie would you choose? So I asked all that together because I thought, usually our favorite scary movie, we would maybe want to experience it again. So do you guys have any scary movies that you like and maybe that you would like to experience again?
The movie that I've seen, a scary movie, I don't know if anyone has really seen it. It's called Stay Alive. It is a game. It is a movie about a video game developer or video game player where he plays a video game and everything from that video game comes to life.
Have I seen that? No, I saw something related to it, but yeah. I
don't know if I'm remembering that one right, but it's been 10, 15 years since that movie came out. But I remember that one was one of the really creepy kind of The Ring kind of movies where it's like things are coming out of these monitors, these TVs. Oh man, I want to go watch that one again.
Eesh. Yeah, you bring up The Ring. That's actually probably, I'm pretty sure that's the last real scary movie that I remember sitting down to watch the whole thing of my own free will was The Ring. So it's been a while since I've watched an actual horror movie. So yeah, I watched that in college, and I remember I definitely started turning the lights on halfway through the movie because I was getting super creeped out, even though I had people with me. I was like, hey guys, I'm going to turn the lights on. I did the same thing with The Exorcist. Have you guys watched The Exorcist?
Negative.
No, but I mean,
I think I've seen it, but it was a long time.
Yeah, I watched it with my friend in high school, and we watched it like at noon, and we turned all the lights on, and we're like, okay, let's watch this. And it definitely wasn't as scary as it could have been, but it was probably because we watched it in the daytime, so you'll have that.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of scary movies. I never really watched them growing up. It just was never my thing, and obviously growing up, a lot of those horror movies are kind of not appropriate for kids. So, but yeah, horror movies, I've just never really flocked to it. Just not my thing.
Ronnie, how about you, buddy?
Well, you guys are never going to believe this, but I went to a movie theater and saw a movie this week.
Superman?
No, it was not Superman.
Oh, right. We already covered that.
If it had been at the same theater, though,
totally forgot.
at a different time slot, I would have went right to it.
Patrick, you need to tell him something. It begins with an F and ends with ooze.
For real, you need to watch it, ooze.
No.
Yeah, that covered all the...
I was
everything.
You're supposed to say fake news. Fake news. Come on, man. You're killing me, Smalls.
He hasn't watched it. That's real news.
He got you on that one.
No, the fake news is he said if it were in the theater, he would watch it, and that's not true. But anyways.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I mean, if
that's
it was,
fake
I
news.
mean, if like if it
Thank
were
you.
there and
All
it were
right.
convenient, I would have definitely watched it.
Anyways, we'll let you continue. What movie did you watch?
I saw the new Halloween movie actually, which is weird for me because I don't do scary movies at all. It's just a group of friends going, so I was like, yeah, I'll go in.
Hold on a second. So we gave you a task. Watch this movie. You're like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and watch this other.
Yeah, I
movie.
mean, I figured you guys would accept a movie at least. It's not that I didn't do anything at all. I mean, a movie is better than the movie that you recommended or told me to watch. Moving on. So I watched this Halloween movie. I'm not really into scary movies at all or spoilers. I'm not going to spoil this for anybody. The only thing that I will say is that it's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I'm not even into these movies. I know some of the people that I went with are big slasher scary movie fans, and they really liked it. So if you're into that, this could be your movie. Now, the one thing I will say with this movie and most movies, like the Halloween movies, the Jason movies, or whatever. All right. So from a logic standpoint, I can't wrap my head around this movie, and I can't even focus while things are going on because this guy is a giant guy just walking slowly around with a knife, just killing everybody in the neighborhood. There was a scene, and this doesn't give anything away. There was a scene where the cop is upstairs in a house, and he basically, Michael Myers walked by him and started walking down the stairs. And the cop sees him, draws the gun, but he's just his head going down, or whatever. So the cop runs literally right behind him. He's vanished. Couldn't track him down.
You walk so
The
slow.
cops just couldn't seem to catch up.
Yeah.
It's imperceptible.
It's blended
to the
right
human
He's
eye.
like Drax.
I was gonna say he's like the Drax of the horror world.
I thought there was going to be some kind of face-off at the bottom of the stairs or something because the cop had to have caught him before he even got off the stairs. But nope. Vanished after that. So maybe that is a little bit of a spoiler.
Right.
The stair scene, he gets away like he always does.
Great. Now I don't need to see the movie. I know it all.
Yeah, I think I did actually see the first one. It was a long time ago. But I think with this movie, it's one of those it's not a recreation or anything. It's literally this many years past, 30 years after or something like that. But I think they did it right. As far as what kind of movie it is, a slasher movie, it had all of the things that I thought it would have in it, and I think what people expected it to have. So I think from that standpoint, it is good. For me, a person that doesn't really do scary movies or these slasher films, it was entertaining, but I always tend to pick these movies apart as I'm watching them.
I think the best thing that they did was they ignored the 8 or 9 movies that happened in between the first Halloween and this one.
Yeah,
because those movies got really convoluted, I guess. Funny fact, and this changed my perception of Michael Myers anytime I see him. The Michael Myers mask is actually a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask flipped inside out.
Really? I did not know
That's really
that.
all that is. So you're looking at William Shatner's face every time you see Michael
No,
Myers.
you're looking at the inside of his face, which is very creepy. Why are you wagging your finger
Patrick?
there, Patrick?
That's fake news.
What are the odds that could even be true?
0. I don't believe it.
Well,
It's an old wives' tale or whatever they call it.
Well, I guess then, in hearing you guys share your movies, it seems to me that at least 3/4 of us are not big horror movie fans, and so I do want to offer out a Halloween movie that's not about Halloween, that goes by the name of Coca. Have you guys seen it?
No.
I have seen it.
Yes.
This guy has seen it.
Wow.
It is way better than I thought it was going to be.
It's so good.
Yeah, it was good. It was really, really good.
Ronnie, have you seen
I
it?
actually
Good
have
Pixar
not
movie.
seen it.
Yeah. Mark, have you seen it?
I have not seen Coco.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, I will say that it's about Mexican culture. It's about the Day of the Dead. So I do understand it's not a Halloween movie, but it's about a culture that celebrates a Halloween-like holiday, like I mentioned earlier, a couple days later. But Patrick, did you want to give a quick elevator pitch on the movie for Ronnie and.
Oh, it's my turn.
Well, I mean, as always, I have an actual elevator pitch prepared that I prepared, but I did want to give you the chance to give a quick Patrick version of an elevator.
Yes.
I wanted to get your version out first so we can destroy it with his elevator pitch.
Goodness, yeah.
That is correct.
These are always rough. All right, so it's a story where a kid crosses over into the underworld and tries to find his calling in life, and realizes the person he looked up to wasn't the person he thought he was.
Spoilers.
Dang it.
That's okay. I
should have. Yeah.
All right. That was pretty good. That was better than fat people in chairs. I will give you that.
Look.
Yes, skeletons in clothes.
That was always accurate. You cannot deny that. You cannot deny that's accurate.
All right. Well, real quick, I want to give Ronnie and Marc an elevator pitch and see if it intrigues them for the movie Coca. So it's about a boy whose love for music is stifled by his cobbler family's hate for music. So he goes on an undead adventure to discover who he is and where his passion for music comes from, and along the way, learns why the memories we have and the love that we share are our only ways to truly live for the future.
I don't know why, but your elevator pitches for movies, like, they always make me go, "Aww."
See, now you need to go see it. It is really a good movie, and it makes me cry after every part. And as a side note, and I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, but if anybody has had family members with dementia or Alzheimer's, you really need to watch this movie, because it really connects with that experience, and I think it just gives good exposure to helping people empathize or sympathize with people that have gone through that. So it's very much recommended. Getting on to even more personal things, as we get towards the end of our scary talking about Halloween, I think we need to get a little more personal. So Patrick's better half and friend of the show, Melanie, she wanted to know, did you guys ever have any irrational fears as a child or even as an adult?
I was afraid of thunder and lightning when I was a kid. Which I guess is somewhat rational, because, you could get struck by lightning. But just any time there was a thunderstorm of any kind, I was just scared to death. I remember we went to it was like the early days of IMAX, and we went to like a science museum that had this, IMAX theater in it, and there was this, and it was a huge IMAX screen. Like, I know generally they're huge, but like this was like, I don't even know how to describe it. But it just, to a kid, was absolutely huge. And they had like the thunder noise and the lightning, and I absolutely hated it. I wanted to get, and it was just a movie. I wanted to get out of it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So thunder
Patrick,
and
how about you?
I'm just trying to think of what scared me as a kid. There was a time where I think I watched Nightmare on Elm Street too young.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a scene where this girl runs into her house, or into a house. I can't remember if it was hers or not. When she starts running up the stairs, she's like stepping into the stairs. They're like melting, or they're mushy stairs, and she couldn't quite get up the stairs before Freddy Krueger got to her. So I always had a fear that something like that was going to happen, where I would try to run up steps and I couldn't, because they were like melting, mushy, marshmallowy or whatever. It's a weird thing, and I always remember that scene. Of all the things that I saw in Nightmare on Elm Street, that was the scariest, because she was running pretty fast up until that point, and I think that's what slowed her down is really, really what I remember. It's weird.
Interesting.
And I still remember that. I mean, I think I was like 6 So when did that come out?
You were definitely
1984 or something like that. And
definitely too young to watch that at 6.
Yeah. Well, I had older brothers, so they made it. My oldest brother.
Yeah.
I think he is like 5-6 years older than I am. So if I was 6 and he was 12, it makes sense. Where I could have seen that.
That does make sense for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I had a. Oh, go ahead, Ronnie.
I was just going to say, I don't necessarily know if I have like any irrational fears like to that magnitude, but I think when I was younger, especially just like generally being afraid of the dark and like specifically like the woods in the dark, like always like scared me to death. Like when I was a kid, you see like all these movies, like if you remember when we were younger, like the Blair Witch Project and stuff like that, they're running through the full woods and stuff like that. That's still, I mean, I don't want to go to the woods at night. I can tell you that.
Well, to be honest, I don't even want to do that right now.
That totally freaks me out. That's why I have a house.
Yeah.
Prevent me from being in the woods at night.
It's a good reason to have a house, so I don't have to be in the woods in the dark. Yeah. I had when I was a kid, I had a pretty irrational fear of bees. Now, it was rooted in a very traumatic event that I experienced when I was probably 4, maybe 5 years old. I was walking across my neighbor's yard, and I stepped on something, and it tickled, quote unquote, my foot. And so I lifted my foot up, and there was a bee stuck to the bottom of my foot where it stung me, and it was just like wiggling around, like wiggling around. And I just screamed at the top of my lungs, like started hitting my foot, and then ran into my house to, I guess, hide from the bee. I don't know. It probably died, given the fact that I, smashed it to death. But from that moment, for many, many years, I had a pretty irrational fear of bees. So we have a community response to this question. Our good old buddy Quest for Pixels, MikeBC, on the Discord, he told us that he said this. I'm not going to read it in third person. I'm going to read it as he wrote it. Mike said, I had and still have a huge arachnaphobia, but more recently, I've started having terrible problems sleeping because when I first start falling asleep, I have very vivid dreams that I'm getting into bad car accidents or car crashes. Or in the last few days, I'll be walking down the median and fall into oncoming traffic and it'll wake me up. Then when I drive to get irrationally upset about people on the median or fear getting into an accident. So he's having these car-related dreams where he's walking into oncoming traffic and it's affecting him in real life when he's driving and causing him to get irrationally upset. Do you guys ever have vivid dreams like that?
Yeah, I know I definitely have. And I've even had dreams where I've woken up and thought, like, wait a minute, like, did that all, like, just actually happen or whatever? Like, and you have that moment where you're not actually clear. So I've definitely had that. And I will also comment on the arachnophobia thing. I'm not scared to death of them, but the large ones, like, I'm afraid to get close enough to step on them. Like, they're just going to leg sweep me and get me.
They
Never
do
mind
have
the whole killing
legs.
You part.
Leg sweep.
Well, look out for that spider
if you
leg
can see
sweep.
the hair on them, they're too large.
My buddy Ronnie, you definitely don't want to come with me to the Amazon because I went there in August.
I'll
And
never
let
be
me
there.
tell you, we were in a church service, right? And we were listening to the guy, people talk, and we were singing sometimes. And one of the guys in the group, an American, kind of poked me, and he's like, Lucas, look up directly above us. And I looked up, and I kid you not, there was a tarantula crawling. Actually, it wasn't crawling. It was looking at us from the top of the rafters. And I was like, what do we do? And I'm pretty sure for the next 15 minutes, one by one, people in our group started to see it. And our whole group was just staring at this tarantula on the roof of the church. And we totally missed whatever the dude was talking about or whatever was happening because we were staring at this tarantula. It never jumped on us. It looked like a couple times it was going to jump on us, but it didn't. It kept.
Oh man, I've been freaking out.
And just stayed there. Yeah,
I would have not kept my cool.
Move seats.
Kill it with fire.
Fire. Throw a Bible at it. Exorcise the demons.
Possessed spider. Okay.
Oh, jeez, that's funny. Yeah, I'd say for me now as an adult, I sometimes have fears of being mugged or assaulted. You hear people tell stories about things happening, and especially in a big city like this big city that I live in now, Sao Paulo. You know, people get mugged and assaulted almost every day, and so you just people talk, and you just wonder when's it going to happen. I'm an American, I look American. And so I'm a target sometimes, and so I sometimes have very realistic fears of being mugged. I'm constantly trying to be actively looking around, paying attention, not just for myself, but for my kids, for my wife. I think the other day I should not have done this, but I started watching a video on Facebook where they just showed videos of kids getting kidnapped, and I just couldn't believe it, and I can't believe I kept watching it, but for a couple days after that, I was like, man, what if that happened to my kids? And
Right.
but I would say overall, I just kind of fear itself. I don't really have any irrational active fears. So, well, with that being said, I think we should get into our wrap up, our good morning inspiration. Mark, of course, can share some music, and Ronnie can just share the random stuff he usually does, and maybe Patrick a joke or a question. But I want to lead into the wrap up, kind of since we talked about our irrational fears. I just wanted to share a scripture from 1 John, chapter 4, verse 8 that I read this week, and just to share a little inspirational thought, something to chew on, and figuratively speaking, of course, not literally, in case you're hungry. But in 1 John chapter 4, verse 8, it says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear." As a dad, I've really come to discover, I've really come to understand what it's like to not just deal with fear, but to help others deal with fear. Because my kids a number of times have woken me up in the middle of the night. They've said, "Daddy, I'm scared." Sometimes I tell them to sing. Sometimes I tell them to pray. And I remember one time that my daughter came out and she's like, "Daddy, I'm too scared to be in my room. I've been singing, I've been praying." And, I talked to her for a second and had a heart to heart. And I said, "Tasha, there's nothing I can really say to convince you that you don't have a reason to be scared, but do you trust me?" And she said, "Yeah, Daddy, I trust you." And I said, "Let's pray. And then why don't you go back and go to bed?" And, after I prayed with her, after I assured her and put her back in bed, she went to sleep. And, and just thinking of that story and thinking of that scripture, from John, sometimes when we're scared in life, sometimes it's not about trying really hard to overcome it or ignoring it or trying to be super strong. Sometimes we have to invite someone who's actually stronger to help us. And instead of trying to escape our fear, we need to be filled by the opposite of that fear and be filled with love, be filled with confidence. For me, that's been God. And I'm sure for you guys as well, you can share the same thing. That it isn't about how big our fear is, it's how big our trust is for God, the one who can destroy and help us to overcome that fear. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, with those who are listening, just in case there might be somebody out there, who maybe has a real fear that they're facing right now. So be encouraged and know that you are not alone and that we're here with you, and God is too.
Sure.
When you were telling that story, it made me think of VeggieTales. God is bigger than the boogeyman.
It's a classic, and you sing it beautifully.
Oh, thank you. He's bigger than Godzilla and the monsters on TV.
Tell me that song's going to be on our Spotify list.
Playlist.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to look it up and see if it is. And if it is, I'm putting it there. But no, that was not on my list for this week. But the list for this week for our Good Morning playlist, which, by the way, for those who might not know, you can go on Spotify and search the Good Morning Guys Good Morning playlist, and it'll come up for you. This week, I was super pumped to find out that one of my favorite bands has a new album coming out within the next few months, and they released their new single, and that is Switchfoot. They put out their new single called Native Tongue, and it is an awesome song, so I'm going to put that on the playlist and encourage you to check that out.
Nice.
And I'm also going to encourage you to check out the song Brother from the band Need to Breathe. It's just a very encouraging song and just beautifully written. And one of my other favorite bands, of all time is a little old band. You might have heard them. They're called the Beatles, and they have a song called Penny Lane, and it's just a song about recalling the places that they would see in their childhood. So I'm gonna add that to the playlist, and I hope you enjoy those songs as well as the others on the playlist.
Cool.
I don't have anything inspirational this week, but I did actually start listening to a new band that I just randomly discovered on Spotify. So one of my favorite bands is Sublime, and I was listening to them like
classic.
I got on them for like 2 or 3 weeks, like just solid of like just had the playlist with all my favorite songs, and it always gives you the recommended down on Spotify, like based on what you've chosen. And this band called Soja comes up, Soja. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, but they're a band. They're all about love. Like all their songs, like they don't have like a depressing song. They're all about love, and they have like a reggae beat in the back. And there's like I did a little research on them. There's like 8 members of this band or something like that. There's a bunch of different instruments, but definitely check them out because they are really cool, really easy listening, and really good messages on them too.
Cool.
Nice. That's awesome. And you guys will be very happy to know that the song God is Bigger, the VeggieTales song, is in fact on Spotify.
Score.
So
Add it.
It is going on the playlist.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think that's all for this good morning. Everybody remember, this isn't just any conversational podcast out there. We prefer you to participate on the show, asking questions, giving feedback, answering future topic questions, and finding ways to connect with us as we do the same with you. Because as MJ sang many years ago, you are not alone. The GMG's with you. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Remember,
Backstreet Boys version.
Yeah, well, I try.
Nice.
As you guys know, as some of you know, if you're new, you might not know. But you can find us on podcast, on Facebook and YouTube as The Good Morning Guys. On YouTube, nope, I already said that. On Twitter, at the GMG Podcast. And also personally, you can find us at...
You can find me at Nova Beyond on Twitter.
That's Patrick Novosel.
You can find me at Ronnie Johannes on Twitter.
And I am at Musique829 on Twitter.
And you can also find me on Twitter at MTTG Brazil Team, and on Facebook, Lucas Ham Swisher, and on Twitch. I won't be twitching as much or streaming as much.
Twitching.
Dang it. I won't be streaming as much, but if you want to look for me, my name's Pastor Ham. Beyond that, we look forward to seeing you again next week on podcast services around the interwebs and world. If you get a little moment to show some love, rate us on iTunes and maybe even write a little review. For some technological reason, it helps us connect with strangers and others seeking to be inspired or just make good use of their time while they wash the dishes or commute to work. So, let's connect with a few more countries this week, shall we? All right,
Let's go.
All right.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Abso-positively. All right, my brothers and sisters, go get your good morning this week. May God bless and guide your lives as you live, work, and game. Da vestre choo-choo. I totally jacked that up. Oh, man. I tried real hard. Let me try that again. Da vestre choo. Yeah, I don't know if I said that right, but that's Russian for see you later, okay? See you next time, guys. Let's keep gaming and doing life together just as God intended.
Sorry, Russia.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
what
man.
What was that?
Choo choo.
Let's ride the train.
I totally jacked up. See you later. Da vestre choo. Choo.
It was like Ace Ventura 2 when nature calls. He's like, Amala Afalu Usu.
Yeah, it was.
What is he saying?
Ding dong.
He said he is happy to meet you.
Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee
Bumblebee tuna. It's also showing Bumblebee Tuna.
Shawshank Redemption.
I'm pretty sure my good morning,
Shish kebab.
my Russian good morning, I thought was pretty good, and I maybe gained a few. We gained a few Russian listeners, but we lost all of them with that ending.
Hopefully they only listen to the
I'm
beginning.
really sorry. I totally jacked that up. Oh wow.
Oh jeez.
I think on this podcast, when we mess up, we should have to make like the rewind sound, like, and then we just start over.
Sure. Have you guys stopped recording yet?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, I stopped.
Now I'm stopping.
I'm stopping.